Marvelous, darling. Marvelous. Now, great day. Hopefully everybody's super great and getting better. Welcome back to the channel, the Corey Webster Experience. I am your host, Corey Webster, IMC Web on all social platforms, and we're going to dive right in it. We had a rookie minicamp. Are you familiar with rookie minicamp? Do you remember?
I am.
You are? Do you remember what you did after one rookie minicamp?
I think went sightseeing around New Jersey.
Well, this was.
Oh, that was in Albany, right? You just do it. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, rookie minicamp is where all of the rookies, maybe first-year players, maybe second-year players, depending on the situation, get an opportunity to go showcase their talent to, NFL clubs, organizations. It's 32 of them, in a way of trying to make the team, basically. They get to evaluate the talent. And we always say you're not just being evaluated by that one team. Remember, it's 31 other teams out there. So just because you may not be wanted by this team, you never know what's going on. So you always want to put your best foot forward. Now, it's different tiers or levels to it, meaning, you have some first-round picks. They know they're going to be there when the opening day comes because they're a first-round pick. So a lot of the times, those guys are getting to know the playbook, right? And getting to know the organization. The organization is getting to see them in a team atmosphere, one-on-one, hands-on, not just, scouting and, being on the sidelines as far as what they was doing, when they was in college. But now they get to see them, how they interact with their teammates, how they motivate, inspire, how they communicate, how they learn from teammates, and how they also help teammates to get through this process. And, things that you normally wouldn't see, being able to, overcome adversity, overcome being tired, and still push through a work week or a work day, having 2 days, practice in the morning, a practice in the afternoon, workouts in between. How does those guys interact with each other? Do, guys get... Sometimes we have a little, once you be around a person that long, you have a little, very competitive spirit. So you may get into it with one another, but it's nothing over the top. You know what I'm saying? It's just, we've been around each other. We've been competing for a while. Some receivers, DBs may get into it. Some offensive, defensive linemen may get into it. Remember, there's a lot of reps that's being happening at these camps. You know what I mean? So, but needless to say, it's another evaluation time for organization clubs to see how they're going to proceed with, when the veteran guys get there. It's a time where you can have all eyes on your rookies, on your first year players that you may saw a year before, but you want to get some more evaluation time with those guys so you get to see them in a setting where the veteran guys aren't there. So, some people make the team, some people stand out, some people start to, make a way for themselves with these mini camps. So, kudos to all those guys. We're going to have big names like Shador. He was talked about. I think he did a great job answering questions. The media is going to be there, so they're going to have an opportunity to question you and things like that. And he did a great job of, he's been in front of the camera a long time, with the reality shows, with, the lifestyle that his father has lived. So he's been around the cameras. His mother as well. I don't want to leave her out, but I think he did a good job of answering the questions. Also, he put some good film out there. So, I guess, we'll see what happens in the near future. Also, my Giants. Did you see my Giants?
I did.
Yeah, Strahan went out and talked to the young guys. You saw him making a signing. He talked about, us as old guys, we lived through those guys, you know what I mean? And, not for nothing, I'm a, Big Blue Nation for life. So it, inspires me that we have a new season, but it also makes me happy that, we have veteran guys go there, they talk to the players, and they, give them a little perspective from, a legacy standpoint, you know what I mean? Because for me, when I was in that seat, I enjoyed those guys coming back because I'm accountable to those guys. I know those guys are going to be out, cheering for us. They may not be there every day, all day, but they still, hold the organization close to them, and they want to see, what they're started to surpass what they're doing. I know that's how I felt, you know what I mean? So I always wanted to make those guys proud. I always wanted to give them bragging rights to talk about when they was in the barbershop or when they was moving about the world. So, to have Strahan to go there and speak to the guys, that should motivate those guys to go out there and have a beautiful camp and to show that the legacy there is rich, the tradition is rich, but also that the people that came before you really is rooting for you to do well, and that you can reach out to those guys. You can have some of them in and out of the organization, in and out of the building, so you get to ask them questions, pick their brain about, how they were successful, how can we do this, that, and the third. So it's always beautiful to see those, circles and generations meet and, have one to be able to learn from the other. So I think another interesting story is going to be, how does the Jacksonville Jaguars do with Travis Hunter? You know what I mean? Because how he's going to go about playing, the two-way guy, receiver, DB, what does that look like in practice? What does that look like from an organization standpoint? And I don't know if we saw anything yet. We saw a few, headlines come out there where he was having fun at practice and doing what Travis Hunter do, dance and entertain and compete. But it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. You know what I mean? But that's in a nutshell. It's a lot of work going on in a small window. It's 5 practices in 3 days, 2 practices a day. I know there's a lot of rules being put in place now that you can't have full practices, full contact, fully dressed, helmet, shoulder pads, and pants. So they may modify those practices a little bit, but still in all, you're getting a lot of reps in. What you got for me? I know you're going to throw some things out of there. Let's see if I got to the answer to these questions you're going to roll with. Minicamp is fun, though. I ain't going to lie. Because you know what? After it's over, you get to go home for a little while, get back to the, working out, still not losing sight of what the goal is. But, for a lot of these guys, it's been constant training and constant traveling. So after minicamp, they get a little while to be stationary before the veterans get there and have a true mini camp with everybody together.
Okay, so first question, from a fan's perspective, what exactly are rookies doing at mini camp beyond running drills? How much is focused on learning the playbook, terminology, and team culture?
A lot of that, because you're also having meetings outside of sports, meaning, and every organization is different. But they will have like a mini symposium, because they have a symposium that they invite most of the draft picks to. But some organizations do mini symposium prior to that. So they're talking to them about financial literacy. They're talking to them about even, family issues that may arrive that they may not have been familiar with, or, now that they have found this newfound, employment and being in the National Football League. So a lot of things is going on. Those days are pretty long, but a lot of stuff is getting done in those days. They're throwing a lot at you, and they're trying to evaluate how you process those things. For the most part, when it comes to the playbook, it's going to be real vanilla. It's not going to be, strenuous. It's going to be a lot of base stuff, and that base stuff can be subjective to, every organization, depending on what they want to give, because this is not the full team. Remember, we're going to cut this roster down. So, but we're trying to see if guys know certain things and how much we can throw at them in a setting, and how much we'll retain, how much we'll stick. So they're trying to see how well you learn, how well you, they may, teach you in a film study. They may pass out, literature that you can learn from. They may watch it on a big screen through film study. They may also do walkthroughs and see, how well you learn and what's your learning type. You know what I mean? So it's very vanilla, but so much is going on that it can be overwhelming to individual players. And some people have been doing the same strategy or the same playbook for the last 4 to 5 years. Some people know how to adjust to different playbooks on the fly. So we're just seeing how people learn. We evaluating them, how well they work, how hard they work, what's their practice like, and then also implementing our strategies and how we like to practice, because little do you know, a lot of people that is working and having organizations, they have a specific way they like to practice. No helmets on the ground, no footballs on the ground, you know what I mean? No sitting on the helmets. So a lot of that is being implemented in these things, our way about how we're going to go about working, but a lot of work is being done.
Okay. Nice. That's very informative. Fans want to know.
Yeah. And sometimes I don't want to lie. I don't know if the practices are open. That may not be true. The practice may not be open. I don't remember. But that'll be an interesting thing, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't remember if the fans are allowed to come out. I know they're gonna have an opportunity to speak to the media. But with all these facilities and stuff now, fans are welcome at training camp and mini camp sometimes. I don't know that just yet though. So you have to fact check me. Somebody go there and let us know if fans are allowed to come to mini camps.
Okay. All right. So from a player's perspective, what's it like walking into your first NFL facility? What kind of expectations are set from day one, and how do veterans or staff guide the transition?
It could be different. I was only in one locker room, New York Football Giants, so it could be different all over. All 32 can have a different perspective on how they're going to transition into the young guys, the rookies. And it could be depending on who and what veteran players you have in the locker room. So I would always tell them to always be yourself when you're going into those, situations. It could be a bit overwhelming just because the newness of it. I would also tell them to embrace the newness, you know what I mean? Not to, push back because, just because you did it one way and it's been done one way, that doesn't mean you can't learn a new way of doing it. A lot of the terminology is different, but a lot of the same work is the same. So you have done a lot of the work. They may call it something different. So for every player, I would just tell them, hey, keep your head down, go there ready to learn, embrace the newness, go there, get as much rest as you can in between. Don't play around with, the veterans that maybe already have a structure of how they go about doing it. A lot of playing goes on there. What I mean by playing, they're going to have some guys that want to get out and, shoot dice, gamble. I would say stay away from that. Lock in, get in the playbook, know that you're there to audition for a job. And if you want to do a great job at auditioning for, your next job for the next 2 to 3, 4 to 5, 10 years, first impression could be a lasting impression. So some teams have a good veteran player that take youngsters underneath their wing and teach them the rope, about what's going on and off the field. Some have veterans that are the example of what not to do. And that's just, as in any job, you have to be cognizant of who you're following. All great leaders have once been great followers, but they know to follow the right person, the right individual. Keep your head down, keep your ears and eyes open, see and don't see, hear and don't hear, but know that you are being evaluated the moment you are in that city, not just in the building, but the moment you are in that city, you're being evaluated. So, keep your nose clean.
Okay. Gotcha. That's some great information, especially for young guys who are in unfamiliar territory.
Because people are taking advantage of the young guys. That just is what it is, you know what I mean? You wouldn't want that, and you hope that wouldn't happen, but that's just not how the world works, you know what I mean? The world is very manipulative, and, guys are fighting for jobs. So normally the new crop of guys that are coming in, they are coming to take your job. So a lot of guys, that maybe is, not doing so well and not trying to be a better version of themselves, they just manipulate the youngsters and get them out their way by experience and manipulation and, not being a great citizen, not being a great person. So a lot of that does happen. So be strong, as a young person to make sure you're standing on the morals, values, and principles, not only that, was instilled in you, but that makes you a good, productive citizen in the world.
Gotcha. All right, one more from a player's perspective. How are rookies tested mentally beyond the physical drills? Do they go through quizzes, film breakdown, or a one-on-one classroom session with coaches?
Most definitely. And there's always time when you can, pull a coach aside, depending on, again, what organization you're in, to get extra film work. Maybe you're not grasping something that they're throwing at you as quickly as you would like to. So it's always, test the coaches. Hey, can you help me with this? When it's a time that I come meet with you, maybe it's, between lunches, maybe between a training session, maybe you're getting up a little early. So that's also, opportunity for you to grow and to grow individually. But yeah, some coaches, give a certain amount of information and then they may quiz you on the information, that they give you. Maybe a short question about, drawing up routes or drawing up schemes or being schematic in a certain way where you have to write it down. And sometimes they let you get together with other players in the groups that you could turn the information in. I know once the game come, a lot of coaches, for the most part, give quizzes before the game. I was with a coach that gave quizzes before the game, and I'll be honest to you, I always made sure that, man, look, players, let's get together and make sure we get these quizzes done. You know what I mean? I don't want you to come here. If you don't know it, let us know that you don't know it before. You know what I mean? Don't turn it in without you knowing it, because I feel like, as a person that understands it or a person that's a veteran, I don't want my youngster not to understand what's going on and, he embarrassed himself by being called out there on the field and he can't do what's asked of him. Now, I also don't want to just give him the answers without him understanding what we would be needing from him on the field. So, yes, I'm going to give you the answers to make sure that you turn the test and you get a grade that you're looking for, but I also want to know what you don't know so I can help you with that. You know what I mean? I'm not just going to give you the answers and then you still don't know. Because the test is going to happen on Sunday or Mondays or Thursdays, whenever the game is going to be on. So, yes, some tests are available, but for the most part, it's a new environment. It's a new system you learn. It's a new everything that you learn, how to, the organization operates. So it could be overwhelming for a youngster that just, haven't been in one system for the whole time of their career. But nowadays, everybody's in the transfer portal, so it looks like these kids should be well equipped for what's to happen in a minicamp. And, being in a new environment, just like, some things they have already done, you know what I mean? Because they've been to 2 or 3 different colleges already. So I guess everyone is individual, but it's a lot of, again, a lot of this depends on the organization that you're in.
Okay. Thank you for that information. Now let's switch gears a little bit, and this one will be from a coach's perspective. How much of a teams-based offensive or defensive system is introduced in rookie minicamp, and how do coaches judge who's picking it up the fastest?
Well, I could definitely tell you you're getting a grade and you are breaking everything that you're doing down after you have done it. So you're going to have a film session of the practice that you just done. And if your name is getting called a lot, that means you're probably not grasping the information as well or as fast as the organization or the team would like you to be grasping that information. I would say that the club, the organization, have a window or a gap of things that they want to throw at you. And depending on how fast the entire group pick up certain things, they add more to it. And if you're picking it up fast, then they want to throw more at you just to see how much can you grasp. This may be a very smart, intelligent group of kids that we have here. So we don't want to hold them back. We want to know that they want, because we have, these 5 practices, this rookie minicamp before the veterans get here. So these guys are getting the majority of the reps. So we want to see how fast that they learn these things. You know what I mean? If I could put in practice 1, I got this lot of stuff that I put in, and I know that they all in grasp it that good. Well, then practice number 2, I'm gonna throw another, grouping or another formation, another wrinkle in there that they have to learn just to see how well they grasp that information. And if they grasp that well, then I'm gonna keep doing that. And it's still gonna be vanilla. You know what I mean? It's still gonna be a lot of the base stuff, but we may throw motions, shifts, things like that, little window dresses in there to see how well they pick it up, or different formations, you know what I mean? Or maybe ask you to play a different position. Not only you be the outside cornerback, but can you play nickel, right? Those different things like that. Not only you be the outside receiver, can you play the slot? You know what I mean? So we're going to keep it vanilla. We're trying to see, he learned this. Let's see if he can go and play the opposite. Can he play the X receiver? Can he play the Z receiver? Can he play the Y receiver? You understand that? Can he play right corner, left corner? Does he have to be a guy that stays on one side? Can he follow and flip-flop? Can he play the nickel, the money, the star? That's the nickel back positions on inside of the defense. So linebackers, can he put his hand down? Right? How well does he drop? Let's throw a lot of stuff at him to see what he can stick, and is ultimately gonna let us know how can we use this person when the season comes or when the veteran player get there. You know what I mean? The veteran has been known for doing what he can do. Maybe this guy can have another package to our defense or to our offense because of his athletic ability or what he brings here tangibly. So the coaches and the staff is doing a great job or has a lot of work cut out for them because they're evaluating so many people at this time. It's not just a 60-man roster at this time. You got almost 90 to 100 people that you're evaluating, and you're trying to make, a decision on who's going to help you, come the fall. So kudos to those guys. And, some do a good job and some do not so good job. Some players slip through the Some players slip through the cracks and end up at other organizations because one didn't think that he was worthy, but, was one man's trash is another team's treasure. And sometimes it works out that way.
Nice. Thank you for that information. Gotcha.
We going on a hooping or what?
Yeah.
What you got? Western Conference Final?
Definitely.
Oklahoma City Thunders versus Denver Nuggets.
Series tied.
Yep. Deuce, 2-2. So I guess it's even. Everybody did what they were supposed to do. Home court advantage still is with Oklahoma City Thunder. I think what I'm seeing in the last couple of games, Oklahoma is playing a different level of defense. I think early on, Joker was able to have his way, so to speak, play at his own pace, not get rushed, not get hurried in any sense. Now I'm seeing him a little off of his pace. Look like they're speeding him up a little bit, right? He also got in foul trouble a couple of times, fouled out one of the games, but looked like the pace that he's playing at is a little different. And me personally, I think they're doing a good job, great job on defense, the Thunder that is, but I also think Joker may be a little tired. Thunder is doing a great job of utilizing their depth. You know what I mean? They're throwing about 3 to 4 different players at him. That's what? They get 6 fouls. That's 18 different fouls. You know what I mean? I think those guys are, as a team, how they move and rotate with the ball in the air. You can see Joker, when he put the ball on the ground, there's 2 or 3 people around him, right? And then when he goes to pass it, those guys are doing a great job of rotating while the ball is in the air and getting back to their responsibility. So I think it could be a combination of him fatiguing because he's working very hard and he's being asked to do a lot more, as well as I think Oklahoma is playing great defense on them. They have a great scheme. I saw SGA. They kind of asked, what are you doing to stop him and things like that? He just kind of smiled. I don't know, but we need to keep doing it. You know what I mean? And that's just a savvy vet, not giving up the not putting too much out there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what we're doing. He knows what they're doing. He watching film. He's doing a film study. They're putting together a great scheme. But maybe he'll tell you after this series is over and they close out. What are your thoughts? Who do you think is the next game?
I think OKC.
OKC. You think it's going 7?
Maybe.
Yeah, you think it's going 7? We'll see. But I think what they're doing on defense and the possibility of getting Williams involved, because he didn't have a great offensive game. He still scored double digits, but, he'd been known to go off for 30 or so, you know what I mean? So I think if they could get him going a little offensively to close out this series, I think that'll help OKC going into the next series. And I'm not trying to just look so far ahead. I'm just saying, him getting started, him getting going, you know what I mean? So, but I do think Joker is tired. He shot 18% from three-point range. A lot of those were short. And normally when they say your shot is short, is your legs are, kind of tired, fatigued. So we'll see. See if, can the Nuggets make some adjustments on offense to help Joker? Because Murray will need to step up in a major way. I don't think he's stepping up in a major way. He has to step up. I think Gardner did a great job. I know Porter Jr. is playing with the shoulder injury. I know Westbrook has, been given the shot a lot, but he's been knocking down those shots. He's been putting pressure on the rim as well. Brown has been doing a decent job, but I think the main player in this game that needs to step up and help Joker is Murray. If Murray don't show up, if he continue to do what he's doing, I don't think they win this series. It may not get another win in this series if he don't, step up. So we'll see. Minnesota, Timberwolves versus the Golden State Warriors. Are the Warriors in trouble?
It's looking like it.
Yeah. Minnesota took the lead 2-1. The Warriors obviously playing without Steph Curry, one of the all-time greats. You know what I'm saying? That's, it's hard to replace that. You know what I'm saying? I think they did a good job in trying and competing. But I just think, Ant-Man and the Timberwolves is going to be a little bit too much for them to get it done without Steph Curry. Even if he do come back, I think they already be down 3-1. And who's to say he's going to be Steph when he comes back? You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's not Steph, but, with an injury, getting rest on it, will he be able to push it? Will he be able to move lateral, stop, start, have the same type of movement? Steph runs a lot. He works hard with the ball, but he also works hard without the ball. They clock him at running 2 or 3, 4 miles a game. So will he still be able to be that Steph Curry when he come back, and could he get him over the hump? Who knows? But, I'm going to say that it's going to be likely that he get that done just because, a guy that works hard without the ball and a guy that does that much running in the game, I would say it'd be hard for him not to have a little lingering rust and a little pain on that hamstring trying to move around the court. You know what I'm saying? So I think Minnesota, Ant-Man, them looking good. I think they get it done. I think they find themselves in the Western Conference Championship game again. I don't know who they're going to face, but I think they're going to find themselves in the Western Conference game again. So moving on to the Beast in the East. Right now, Indiana looking like they took well control 3-1 over the Cavaliers. I don't know. The Cavaliers has always looked like that team to me. And what I mean by that is they do well, but they don't look like they can, close it when it comes to the playoff time. I know everybody have these nicknames and all that, playoff this person, playoff that person. I don't see Cleveland being one of those teams, you know what I mean? Even when they was winning the games early in the season, I just didn't see them going far. Now, I did make the statement that it'll be interesting to see if Cleveland will win and OKC will win just because of the markets, being small markets, and it will force everybody to watch it. But I did not pick Cleveland getting out of or getting into the Eastern Conference Championship. I didn't see it, you know what I mean? And I think, as you know, it's only one team have done it. 3 teams have done it. It has been done 3 times. One team done it twice. Come back from a 3-1 lead in the series. I just don't see it happening. And then they may be without Donovan Mitchell because of the injury. But I'll say about a lot of these guards that are, what some people would call undersized guards, but they're kind of heavy. But they play hard. You know what I mean? I would say they have to figure out a way of staying off the ground. And if they're going to be on the ground, they have to go figure out how to fall. You know what I mean? They got jiu-jitsu. I know that may sound weird, but they have a lot of things that can teach you how to fall, how to kind of absorb some of these blows to the ground. But I see a lot of these guards that are undersized guards, they stay on the ground and they stay injured. And Donovan Mitchell, to me, have been one of those guards. He's a good player. I don't think he crossed over the great yet, you know what I mean? Because you got to win something, I feel like, you know what I mean? That may be just me. And I haven't saw that yet, you know what I mean? Getting his team over the hump. And not only him, a couple of the other players missed, significant time in this game. Garland, the other guard. Mobley, I want to say his name is, the power forward. He missed a game or 2 in this game as well. So I just don't see them as being that team in the East. You know what I mean? Great regular season team, putting up nice numbers, but when it counts for something, they disappear or injury. that they can't push through, it just looks strange to me. I don't want to talk bad about them, you know what I mean? It just looks strange to me. So I ain't going to say nothing. What your mama said, if you ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all. Boston, New York Knicks, the Battle of the Gardens, TD Garden, Madison Square Garden. Tonight, they're in Madison Square Garden. Can the Boston Celtics even the series out and get it back to 2-2 so they can have the home court advantage? I think they will get it done. I think Boston, they miss a lot of open shots, right? In the first 2 games that they lost, they missed a lot of open shots. So what I'm going to say is, and they had 2 20-point leads that they blew. I'm going to say that was a lack of, finishing in their part in the first 2 games. And I think they got that corrected. You know what I mean? Now, that doesn't mean that the Knicks can't come out and be motivated to, get the fans behind them. And because they're going to be in Madison Square Garden, one of the best places to play at in the world. You know what I mean? So a Madison Square Garden crowd, with all this, the expectations that's on the line, I think the Knicks can, have enough energy to come out and get it done. But I think that Boston is a team that has been here before. They're defending champs. And I think they understand what their legacy mean, going forward. So I think they even the series out at 2-2. But the Knicks going to come out fighting. But I think Boston get it done.
Okay. So you got Boston. Well, I'm going to go with the Knicks.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with my orange shirt on and my NY hat on. But I'm just, they got to show me tonight. I'm standing on it.
Some would say confused.
Not confused. Realist. It's going to take for Bronson to have a major game. Not to say he can't, but White, Drew Holiday, they're going to be up for that task of defending. You know what I mean? Drew Holiday been doing a great job of it. So these guys have been there before. Drew had been there with 2 different teams. Mm-hmm. This whole team has been there before last year. They're defending champs. So that comes with something, you know what I mean? So they're going to understand a sense of urgency, the severity of coming out here and being dominant, and the understanding of we got to get the crowd out of it early. Right? We want it quiet in the Garden and all that. We was the Road Warriors. You understand that? So we don't want the crowd to be into it. We want to go there. We happy that nobody has our back. Nobody's going to pick us to win this game. We appreciate that. And we going to go out there with the people that came in on this bus, on this plane, with the support of them, and be dominant. And I think that's what you're going to get from a championship, caliber team as in Boston. Boston is, the better team. Like, make no mistake about it. They haven't been playing that way, and that don't mean that the better team can't lose. But I'm saying they're the better team, and I think that they're going to show that tonight. And if not, y'all get to come on here and ridicule me tomorrow about it. You understand? All in the comments. Dive in. Also in NBA news, breaking news, Giannis said he's open to his options in the near future where he's going to play. Do you think Giannis is going to leave the Milwaukee Bucks? 30-year-old, young, in a prime, but he wants to win championships. Can he do that with the Bucks or not? And what's a likely landing spot for him? I don't see him going anywhere just for sake of going somewhere. You know what I mean? If he goes somewhere, I think it's going to be a team that can be a contender immediately. You know what I mean? The next 3 to 5 years, It's a lot of speculation being brought out there. Brooklyn Nets, I don't see the Brooklyn Nets being one. Los Angeles Lakers, they could be. I don't know how they can get it done. With potentially making a big 3 between him, Luka, and LeBron. I think that can get them over the hump. San Antonio Spurs, a very young team, right? He can go over there and be the veteran, the championship guy, as long as, not just as long as well as the championship pedigree that the San Antonio Spurs already have. He can add to that. I can see that. I don't know about the Houston Rockets, them breaking up everything because you don't know what pieces they're going to get left with. You know what I mean? Breaking up the team that, got them there thus far. Oklahoma City Thunder, so close. I don't think you need to bust that up. Pause. You know what I mean? I don't think you need to break up that team. You know what I mean? I understand it is Giannis, and I understand he's, MVP in his right. He's a high caliber player, but I just think that Oklahoma can get it done. Can you see him playing in New York? Now, I know they have Karl Anthony Towns, and I know they have a couple of big guys. What?
Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, big cat, Karl Anthony Towns. I don't know why I want to call him Townsend.
I have no idea.
I'm going to get it right. I apologize, cat. But they have, what pieces will you lose to make that work in New York? You know what I mean? You'll see. I can see him in, I ain't going to lie. Just what I see, and I saw the conversation, I can see him and Steph Curry playing together in Golden State, making that window a little bigger for the Golden State Warriors to add to their 4 championship that they have already. I can see that. I don't know how I get it done. I know Jimmy Butler just got there. Maybe a move with Jimmy Butler and maybe, a couple of the young players. But I can see that happening. That's not a potential landing spot, but I can see that happening. You know what I mean? Just on how Giannis talk about Steph Curry. And kind of the way that Golden State Warriors is on that same trend as the San Antonio Spurs as far as development and how the organization work. I can see that as a good spot for him. But, y'all let me know what y'all feel, what y'all thoughts are. Can the Warriors get that done? Or where would be a great spot, for you guys to think that, Giannis can end up at, Let us know. Anything else? You watching baseball?
No, I haven't been able to watch Major League Baseball, but 10-year-old baseball, yes.
Yeah, well, shout out to Aaron Judge. He hit 2 homers, but it was in a loss. You know what I mean? He put on a good show. Had a couple of outs that he made out there. A couple of fly balls ran down. Also, dangers out the park. You see him represent my NY head today. So yeah, y'all get in the comments. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts, y'all feelings. It's always great. Anything we miss?
I don't think so.
You sure?
Yes.
You sure? You want to do a solo? Remember that solo that we had heard done in church that time? No? You want to talk about it? Maybe one day, not today. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, y'all be great. Have fun. Turn on the notification bell. Hit the like. Share the video. Get in the comments. Let us know your thoughts about the Rookie Minicamp. Who's your team? Let us know your thoughts about your NBA teams. Did we say anything that you agree with, disagree with? Let us know in the comments. Y'all be great. And we out.